Hello, everyone. My name is always Asmal. Welcome to another episode of Tooways to Skin a Cat, a show where we talk career experiences, entrepreneurship, and investments. The main aim is to show that there's more than one way to be successful other than just climbing the corporate ladder. We are live on LinkedIn and YouTube, and the show will be available on podcast by latest tomorrow morning. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on that notification bell to get automatically notified when the next episode comes out. If you are joining us live, drop a one in the comments so that we know we're not talking to ourselves. And if you're watching the recording, drop a two in the comments. My guest for this week is Zené de Laan, chartered accountant and financial manager at the US listed company PepsiCo. That's, I think, listed on the NASDAQ. Zené, thanks so much for
Hi.
joining me today.
Hi, always. Thanks for having me, and hi, everyone that's joining.
Let's jump straight into questions. Tell us your story. Where do you come from? And even outside of work, who is Zené de Laan? Give us the backstory.
Okay, so I grew up in a small town in the Northern Cape called Carnarvon. I'm the eldest of three daughters. I've attended my primary school and partially high school in Carnarvon, and then I did grade 10 to 12 in Uppington. After that, I went to Stellenbosch to study BA. I did my undergrad and my postgrad. My first year of honors, I failed, and I think that was like a key milestone for me. It changed my perspective about failing. It's not always that you're weak. It can be due to different reasons why you failed, and I think it's important if you can identify what went wrong and if you can rectify that going forward. So after my honors, I did my articles at PwC in Worcester. Yeah, that came with its own pros and cons. But if I can mention some of the pros, is that I gained a lot of exposure on different sectors. I did some financial accounting, like doing financial statements. I also got some local government experience by auditing municipalities. And also I went to Secondment to Joburg to do some insurance companies, audit some insurance companies. At the end of my articles, I got married. And yeah, in December and January, I was on a plane to the Netherlands for 4 months secondment. Yeah, that was also very interesting, learning the new culture and the way of working. And I also got a chance to travel a bit, which I enjoy. I came back after the 4 months, and then I was unemployed for about a month. And then I got a job as a management accountant. I did that for about, I think, a year and 9 months. Then I moved on to a new role as a commercial financial analyst. I was in that role for almost 3.5 years, and then I was promoted to commercial finance manager. And after that, I joined PepsiCo in February this year, so I'm still fairly new in this new role. Outside of work, I would say I enjoy music, reading. Yeah, reading when I want to escape the world we're in. I like to pick up a book and just get lost in it. And I have a 3-year-old son, so he also keeps me on my toes day in and day out, especially in the toddler stage. And then recently, I've started to enjoy exercising. I think with us working from home, I have that extra time that I'm not traveling, which I then use to exercise. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Oh, that's amazing. You touched on it a little bit, but you spent some time on secondment in the Netherlands. Tell us a little bit more about that experience and whether you would advise others to do the same.
So, yeah, I would. First of all, I would advise others to do the same. It's amazing to get to see a different country and how other people live and work and go about their day to day. And also, I mainly focused on insurance companies, investment companies. So it was financial services orientated more, which I only touched on in my article. So it was nice for me to get a broader exposure into that. And yeah, it was also nice to to see how other people document stuff, even though it was in a different language. Because I'm Afrikaans speaking, it was easy enough for me to pick up the Dutch. So yeah, I enjoyed that, and sometimes I would like attempt to speak a bit of Dutch with my teammates, and then they would just like laugh, or yeah, that was nice.
It gives us a good understanding. If anybody's got any questions for Zené, please add them to the comment section. We'll deal with them all towards the end. But add them now so that we don't miss them. You spent some time as a commercial, or you were basically at Origin Wine, which is a company in beverage manufacturing, and now PepsiCo also is kind of beverage manufacturing. What do you think, does that limit your is that the industry that you very interested in, or is it just happenstance that you stayed in, and does it limit your future options? What do you think?
Look, the business unit I'm currently in within PepsiCo, I don't know if you know, but 2 years ago they acquired Pioneer Foods. So I'm currently part of the legacy Pioneer Foods business, in the essential foods business. So it's not in the beverage side. So I'm actually gaining experience in manufacturing of other types of products. Yeah. So I think in that aspect, it's not limiting my experience. And I also think if you go into a multinational company like PepsiCo, if you get your foot into the door, then your options are limited. If you are in beverages, I think it's easy enough to move to a different business unit, or even a different side of finance, because now I'm in reporting mainly. But there's financial planning and analysis, there's sales admin, there's a lot of sections within finance that I think I would like to move into the future.
So you in reporting for Pioneer Foods as a whole, or is it to a specific division within Pioneer?
Yeah, only for the essential foods business. Yeah, so we produce like your grains and your breads.
Okay, I understand. And at your previous company, you mentioned that you were first a commercial analyst and then a commercial finance or commercial financial manager. Tell us a little bit about what's the difference between the analyst role and that financial manager role or commercial financial manager role.
I think the main difference between the two was that I got someone that reported to me. So I had a direct report. And also, I think when you're an analyst, you're like in the detail. You do the detailed calculations. And when you move into the manager role, then you are more like of oversight, that you look at the whole picture and have to make a decision and advise the CFO based on the information that the analyst gathered for you. So I think that's like the main difference.
I always tell people, like, some people give a lot of information and you say, I try to explain them, this is like one of 10 things that I'm dealing with. So you don't have to give me all the information that you have. I trust you. Just give me the things that are most important that you're struggling with, because I trust you can deal with everything else. Once they figure that out, then it's brilliant.
Yeah, and I think that's a particular skill that you need to acquire as a financial person, I would say, is to identify what is the key information that you need and use that and let go of the noise.
You mentioned a little bit earlier about exercise and you're doing reading, but looking at yourself as a whole, what are you most passionate about?
I actually forget to mention this. So when I was at Stellenbosch, I was part of the first 20 Tooways bursary, how do you call it now, recipients. Yeah. So we used to call it the Help Mekaar Society. So we weren't there just for ourselves. We were there to help each other. If this one struggles with tax, we sit together and we figure it out. If this one struggles with that, if you misses home, we spend time together, and not only for study-wise, but also emotional-wise. And I think I'm passionate about helping people and guiding people, mentoring, if you can say it like that. And I think it also comes down to being the eldest of 3 daughters. I always had to like give advice to my younger sisters and have that role of being not the leader, but the one they come to for advice. So at my last job, hi, Ayanda. At my last job, Ayanda was one of my mentees when I was an academic mentor at the race I stayed in. So in my previous job, me and my direct report left more or less at the same time, and she messaged me a couple of weeks ago, and she told me like she just wants to say thank you for the stuff that I taught her. Looking back now, she realized why she had to go through the pressures and stuff that the work offered, and she's so thankful for this. And then she mentioned stuff that we talk about in our conversations, and I'm like, I actually forgot I told her that, and I'm glad she remembered that and she could apply it to her own life. So that was so fulfilling for me to know that I could have an impact on someone else's life, even if it's professional or personal. I like to have an effect in an impact on other people's lives. So I would say that's my passion.
Oh, that's great. Tell me, what is one piece of advice you would give your younger self?
I think I would say, don't be scared of failure. Don't be scared of failure. Learn from it and take the next step and conquer on. You can reach high heights, and don't be scared. Take risks. Yeah.
That's 100%. We come from an environment where pass fail has a big inflection of you. But when you come to business, the more you try and you're going to make mistakes. If you want to grow, that's the best thing to do. You have to learn to make mistakes, and failure is not the end of the world. The sun will rise again tomorrow.
Definitely.
Let's go through to some questions and see if there's any questions from the audience. Most of them are quite a lot of people are enjoying it, so there doesn't seem to be. Oh, here's a question. We've got a question from Terry Gilbert. How was your transitioning from being in an audit environment to being where you are today?
I would say the transitioning from articles to being in the professional world is a bit difficult. When you're in auditing, most of the time you're in a team and you go from town to town within the team. There's always a manager and a assistant manager that is your safety net, I would like to say. And then when you get into, how do you call it now, post articles, sometimes you get a lot of responsibility, and then your safety net becomes less. But I think that also it teaches you, and it's every role that I have been in is a stepping stone and was a learning experience for me. And I think being a well-rounded professional, having a lot of different experiences and exposures, that's at the end of the day the most important thing for me.
Okay. And if I can add, people don't expect you, or people shouldn't expect you, won't expect you that you are the finished article when you come straight out of articles, like you know how to do the new job. Most companies will expect that there's a bit of a learning curve, and most companies will give you that opportunity to learn. The ones that don't, that's maybe a red flag. So something to think about there. We've got a question from Ayanda who said, did you struggle to find your purpose? With so many options after articles, how did you decide what comes next?
It's difficult. I think with life, you never know what's next. So I've been now in 4 roles, post articles, and I didn't imagine myself being in the role where I am now when I've ended my article. So I just take it as it comes. Obviously, you have some goals for yourself with what you want to achieve, but your plan doesn't normally go straight to that. So I go with the flow of life.
That's a good one. And I think I've got you beat there. This is my 5th role after articles. But you want to, the only way to figure it out is to try different things. And I'm 5 years in this almost 5 years in this role. So once you find it, then you can settle and see what you enjoy. And people change. You might enjoy something now and not enjoy it in a few years, and that's fine.
Exactly.
Thanks, Ayanda. That was a great question. I don't see any more questions coming through. Any last few words from you or anything we didn't discuss that you'd like the audience to know?
No, I think always we basically touched on everything that I've had in mind. So yeah.
If there's no questions coming through, I have a last favor to ask everyone. As Zené mentioned, I mean, everybody helps out. You struggle. You all know you struggle when you studied. As soon as you qualify, make sure you keep that door open and you keep that ladder open and you keep helping others keep giving others a helping hand where you needed a helping hand when you were struggling and you were working. So I want to leave us with that.
Thank you.
The show has been live on YouTube and should be available on podcast by latest tomorrow. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast and feel it's added value, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on that notification bell to get automatically notified when the next episode comes out. Zené, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Royce. Thanks for having me, and thank you everyone for joining in, and thank you for the questions.
Thanks everyone for joining us for another episode of Two Ways to Skin a Cat.